In all this time, you've even managed to tuck in a duet with David Byrne.
How exciting.
Yeah.
That was so
You're a Talking
fun.
Heads fan?
Such a big fan.
Yeah.
And the thing is, working with him was just a blast because what I love about him, he is yet another legend. And I've worked with some amazing ones, Robert Plant, Peter Gabriel, and they're great as well. Robert, you know, has gone on to work with other people and has such success with working with female artists. And David has this, he seems so unaffected by the fact that he's a legend. He goes about his life, he's very funny. And if he walked in a room, he's a striking man. But he doesn't expect to be treated like a rock star. He came on the train by himself. I mean, you know, really unaffected, kind of.
Yeah. I hear stories of him getting around New York City on his push bike.
Yeah, down to earth guy.
Yeah. Interesting stuff with him. I guess you've never been afraid to go outside of your comfort zone, have you? When you did the Professional Widow remix all those years ago, did you expect that to become as big as it became?
No. No. And I mean, it was fun doing that. I think when people ask me about why don't you do it again, because it's really hard to repeat being one of the biggest songs that isn't a dance song that got turned into a dance song. When you have something like Professional Widow in your arsenal, to then try and do that again, you're setting yourself up for a fall. And I think that that's just something that has become legendary. And because it's not my genre, I think you walk away. It's that idea about being a gambler and you walk away from the Vegas tables knowing, okay, we won. Let's walk away before we lose the house.
Well, speaking of it not being in your genre, you've also been able to take things that have been outside your genre and turn them into your genre, like that amazing version you did of Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
That, I think when I heard that song, it had such an effect on everybody. And yet, it dawned on me that it was such a beautiful piece of music and that the song was so strong that it could hold a different interpretation. And I think certain songs, when they're not just dependent on an arrangement, but the song itself, Naked, is so strong, then those are the songs that call to me. 97 Bonnie and Clyde was another song, the Eminem track, that I felt, well, you know, this could hold a different interpretation that could be just as valid.
Because that album, Strange Little Girls, was an amazing collection of songs, wasn't it? And, you know, I mean, to have the guts to cover Joe Jackson's Real Men from, you know, your perspective.
That whole record was, that was a think tank. My husband, Mark, and Neil Gaiman, we sat, my daughter was just a few weeks old, and we sat in the beach house in Florida and talked about Strange Little Girls as an idea. Similar to Doug Morris, Monty and I talking about Midwinter Graces as an idea, and how either one of these concepts you can get so terribly wrong. And if you get it wrong, because we know of records that are cover records, and we know of Christmas records that just, you know, sink like a lead balloon, and you think, okay, if I'm going to approach these things, as you say, out of the comfort zone, then you really have to do your homework and study and think, okay, I'm just not going to do things that I like. It has to work within a narrative and a structure, and it has to make some kind of sense.
You mentioned Neil Gaiman there, and you've had a remarkable relationship with him that sort of came from a very professional beginning, didn't it? I mean, he was an author, and you name-checked him in a song, and suddenly he's using influence that you came up for characters, you know, in his works. You know, how has that relationship evolved over the years?
I'd say Neil is one of my dearest friends, and I think to have somebody in your life that's been there for so many years, and of course he knows a lot of my private life, and I know his, and I think you and I both know that as you stay in the business, if you don't want to end up in gossip magazines, you have to really close ranks on your personal life. And yet you need people that you can trust to be, you know, a sounding board and to talk things through. So to have people in your life that you can trust, that you know will keep your confidence, that's rare. And we have that with each other. So it's a very dear friendship.
Mm. You've had another interesting project in recent years with comic book tattoo.
Ah, what an experience. Who knew that would be received so well? And Rance Hosley, the editor, deserves all the accolades that have been gifted by the Eisner Award and the different awards that have meant so much to all of us, because that was a labor of love, I have to tell you. So much energy got put into that by all the writers and by my team, and Rance, of course. Rance is the guy that took one of my songs to Neil Gaiman in 1991 or 1990. And that's when I got a phone call from Neil Gaiman soon after that saying, I hope you're considering being in the music business, because I think you've got something there.
Well, he was right.
Yay, Neil.
You've come a long way since Why Can't Tori Read?
Yes. Phew.
Now there's a band that could get back together.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Matt Sorum.
Before GNR.
Yes.
So you had Matt Sorum before Guns N' Roses.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And do you know the amazing thing, though, is he still looks as good as he did in the 80s. I think he must have a deal, some deal going, like he's Dorian Gray.
Ah.
He really is, because that guy has done too much in his lifetime to look like he does.
Yeah. Yeah. He's, you know, are there recordings of that still around? You know, I can't recall that ever being released on CD, for instance.
No, it wasn't. But there are recordings that exist, because there were demo tapes made, and we were all hopeful. But those demos weren't the ones, unfortunately, that the record company wanted to put out. There was a guy, Jason Flom, head of A&R, that believed in the music from the demos of Why Can't Tori Read. But he was one of the few believers. I bet you he has a tape of it somewhere.
It should be dug out, I think.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
For historical purposes, not hysterical purposes.
Yeah, well. But isn't it funny how historical things can become hysterical things?
Yeah.
But so much time has passed that you think that maybe it's okay if that gets out. But before that, I did something with Randy Jackson, you know, who's on Idol, American Idol. And he played the bass for a lot of projects that Narda Michael Walden was doing out of San Francisco. And when I was 19 years old, Narda flew me out, and Randy and I wrote a song together called Skirts on Fire. And that's something that really should never get out.
Oh, maybe they could perform it on Idol.
No.
I think it's time for a Tori Amos Rarities album.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear.
And then there's that classic Rub Down. Oh, yeah.
Oh, what's that one all about?
Oh, dear. I think it says it. The title says it all.
The title does says it all, and I'm just trying to think what a video clip may have looked like at that point had it been made.
Thank God it didn't.
That could have been your Olivia Newton-John physical phase.
It could have been.
Yeah.
Thank God it never happened.
Well, it's good to catch up with you again and hear the Tori Amos story from Tori Amos. Thanks for joining us here at Undercover.
Thank you.